Ladies and gentlemen, life doesn't give us a roadmap. It doesn't promise smooth sailing, and it certainly doesn't guarantee that everything will go according to plan. We all know that setbacks, failures, disappointments, and struggles are inevitable parts of life. But here's the truth. The most successful, the most fulfilled, and the most powerful people on this planet aren't the ones who never face adversity. No, they're the ones who bounce back when life knocks them down. So how do we bounce back from anything that life throws our way? I'm here to share 10 keys that will help you get back on track, no matter the challenge. Life has a way of knocking us down. You don't have to look far to find challenges. Whether it's losing a job, facing a personal setback, or going through a difficult time emotionally, we all encounter pain. The first step to bouncing back, to truly getting back on your feet, is to embrace that pain. Now, I'm not suggesting that you should dwell in it or let it define you, but you must acknowledge it. Pain is an inevitable part of life. It's not the enemy, it's part of the journey. It's something that, when understood and accepted, becomes the very thing that strengthens us. Think about any great athlete, someone who has achieved incredible success. They didn't get there by avoiding pain. They embraced it. When they suffer an injury, the road to recovery begins with acknowledging that injury. They don't ignore the pain, they face it. They know that healing can't start until the truth of the injury is recognized. Life is no different. The pain you are feeling, the disappointment, the struggles, they are real, but they are temporary. And what you learn from them will last you a lifetime. Think of someone like Thomas Edison. Here's a man who failed over 1,000 times in his attempt to create the light bulb. 1,000 failures. Imagine that. But what's remarkable is how he viewed those failures. When asked about them, he didn't talk about defeat or mistakes. He didn't call them setbacks. He called them lessons. Each failure was a step. Each painful moment was a lesson that brought him closer to his goal. Most people, if they had faced the number of failures Edison did, would have given up. But not him. He embraced the pain, accepted the lessons, and used them to fuel his relentless pursuit of success. Edison didn't see failure as the end. He saw it as part of the journey, as something that could teach him what didn't work so that he could keep moving toward what would. He turned his pain into progress. That's what happens when we allow ourselves to acknowledge the struggle. We stop running from it and instead learn to use it as a stepping stone. But embracing pain isn't just about learning lessons, it's also about understanding that pain doesn't last forever. It's a chapter in the story, not the whole story. The world may tell you to avoid pain, to run from discomfort, but the truth is, it's in those painful moments that we often find our strength. The key is not to let that pain define you, but to let it refine you. There's something about facing adversity that builds character. Pain shows you who you truly are and what you're made of. And when you come through on the other side, you're stronger, wiser, and more resilient. You begin to see setbacks not as obstacles, but as the tests that make you better, that make you grow. Pain, when embraced, becomes the catalyst for personal growth. The next time you face pain, don't run from it. I don't try to ignore it or bury it. Instead, stop and acknowledge it. Understand that what you're feeling is part of the process. It's a sign that you are moving forward. Use it as fuel. Learn from it. Let it mold you into a stronger, more determined version of yourself. Just like Edison, who saw his failures not as endings but as valuable lessons, you can choose to turn your pain into progress. When you embrace the pain, you take the first step toward healing and growth. You stop resisting, and in doing so, you start to rise. The struggle isn't the end, it's the beginning of something far greater. So face it head on. Embrace it. Let it transform you. Because in the end, the pain you feel today is what will make you stronger tomorrow. Life has a way of throwing challenges our way, and it can sometimes feel like the weight of the world is pressing down on us. But what separates those who rise above their struggles from those who stay stuck is how they choose to see the situation. The difference between a setback and a breakthrough is often just a matter of perspective. When you face hardship, it's easy to look at it and think, this is it. This is the end of the road. But what if you could look at that same situation and ask, what can I learn from this? What if you could see every setback not as a dead end, but as the beginning of something new? Our perspective shapes our reality. It's our thoughts about what happens to us that truly define our future. You see, life is not about what happens to you, it's about how you respond to what happens. The truth is, everyone encounters setbacks, but the key to success is in how you view them. When you reframe your perspective, you begin to see opportunities where others see only defeat. You start to see every challenge as a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. You stop viewing adversity as an obstacle, and you start seeing it as a chance to grow, to improve, to become better. Let's take a look at the story of J.K. Rowling. The world knows her today as the author of the Harry Potter series. But before all that success, she faced rejection after rejection. Her manuscript was turned down by 12 different publishing houses. 12. Can you imagine what most people would have done after the second or third rejection? Most would have walked away, convinced that they just weren't cut out for it. But not Rowling. She refused to accept rejection as the final word. Instead of seeing the no as a failure, she reframed it. She saw it as a sign that she needed to push harder, to keep going, to believe in her story and her vision. And because she chose to reframe her perspective, today we all know the magic of Harry Potter. Rowling could have taken those rejections personally, allowing them to crush her spirit. She could have internalized those no's and let them convince her that she wasn't good enough. But instead, she did something remarkable. She saw the rejections as a part of the process, not a judgment of her worth. Every no was simply one step closer to the yes that would change her life. By shifting her perspective, she was able to move forward with persistence and confidence. And in doing so, she transformed an obstacle into one of the greatest success stories of our time. That's the power of reframing. It allows you to shift from a mindset of defeat to a mindset of possibility. Instead of seeing the difficulty as something that will stop you, you see it as an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to keep moving forward. When you reframe a situation, you change how you view it, and in doing so, you change your ability to respond to it. Every successful person you admire has faced setbacks, but what makes them different is how they chose to frame those setbacks. Think about Steve Jobs. He was famously ousted from the company he founded, Apple. But he didn't let that rejection end his journey. Instead, he used that time to innovate and create new ventures like Pixar that would eventually lead him back to Apple and redefine the tech industry. Had he seen his firing as the end, he never would have had the chance to return to Apple and change the world with the iPhone. His breakthrough came because he reframed his situation and saw it not as a failure, but as an opportunity to rise again, stronger and wiser than before. Your setbacks are not the end of the road. The challenges you face today are not permanent. They are simply a moment in your journey. It's how you choose to frame them that will determine your future. If you see them as roadblocks, they will stop you. But if you see them as lessons, as opportunities for growth, you will find the strength to keep going, to rise above, and to achieve things you never thought possible. You have the power to change your perspective, and in doing so, change the trajectory of your life. The next time you face a setback, remember, it's not the challenge itself that matters, it's how you choose to respond to it. So choose wisely, choose to reframe, and watch how your life transforms. When life throws a curveball, it's easy to point fingers. It's easy to blame other people, bad luck, or even the world itself. But let me tell you something. The moment you stop blaming everything around you and start taking responsibility for your life is the moment you unlock the true power to change your situation. You are the captain of your ship. You are in control of your response. The world will challenge you. People will disappoint you. Circumstances will test you. But how you respond is entirely up to you. Taking responsibility doesn't mean beating yourself up or blaming yourself for everything that goes wrong. It doesn't mean taking on guilt for things that are beyond your control. What it means is owning your ability to rise above any situation, no matter how difficult. It's about stepping up and realizing that you are not powerless. You don't have to wait for things to change or for someone else to rescue you. You have the power to create change within yourself and, as a result, in your circumstances. Let's take the story of Oprah Winfrey, a woman who needs no introduction. Oprah grew up in poverty, faced countless challenges, and experienced pain that many of us could never imagine. Yet she became one of the most influential people in the world. How did she do it? She took responsibility for her life. Oprah could have easily blamed her difficult childhood, her circumstances, or the people who hurt her. She could have stayed stuck in victimhood, but instead she asked herself one simple question. What can I learn from this? And how can I grow? Every setback Oprah encountered was an opportunity for growth. She didn't view her challenges as things to complain about, but as lessons to be learned. When she was rejected by a local TV station, instead of giving up, she took responsibility for her own development. She worked on improving herself, and she kept pushing forward, turning every rejection into a stepping stone. She didn't wait for the world to give her a break. She made her own breaks by taking full responsibility for her journey. That's what taking responsibility looks like. It's about understanding that the way you react to life is where your true power lies. Life may not always go your way, but you can always choose how you respond to it. The moment you decide that you are the one who holds the keys to your future is the moment you stop being a passenger in your life and become the driver. No one else is coming to save you. No one is going to change your circumstances but you. Now, I know it's hard. It's tempting to blame others when things aren't going your way. Maybe your job isn't where you want it to be. Maybe your relationships are difficult. Or maybe your financial situation isn't where you dreamed it would be. It's easy to point fingers, to say it's the economy, or to blame your boss or family. But here's the hard truth. The moment you start blaming anyone or anything outside of yourself, you give away your power. You give away the ability to change. Taking responsibility means taking that power back. It means saying, yes, this situation may not be what I want, but I have the ability to respond differently. I have the ability to make changes, to learn, and to grow from it. When you take responsibility, you take control. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being the author of your own story. When things go wrong, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? Those simple questions can shift your entire perspective. Instead of staying stuck in frustration or disappointment, you start to see possibilities. You start to see the lessons in every challenge, and that's where true growth happens. Life is going to test you. People will let you down. Plans will fail. But none of that has to define you unless you allow it to. You have the power to change your response. You have the power to rise above. It doesn't matter where you start. What matters is how you choose to respond to the challenges that come your way. Own your ability to rise. Take responsibility for your actions, your mindset, and your future. When you do, you'll find that nothing in life is truly out of your control. You will have the power to create the future you desire. Life has a way of throwing curveballs at us. There are moments when we find ourselves in situations that feel completely out of our control. It's easy to get caught up in the things we can't change: the economy, the actions of others, the unpredictability of life. But here's the truth: you can't control everything. And that's okay. What truly matters is where you place your focus. Instead of wasting energy on things outside of your control, direct your attention to the things you can control. You can control your thoughts. You can control your actions. You can control your attitude. When things go wrong, it's easy to feel helpless, like you're at the mercy of circumstances. I get it. The world can seem chaotic and unpredictable. But what's important to understand is that even in those moments of uncertainty, you still hold the power to decide how you respond. The moment you shift your focus from what you can't control to what you can control, you take back your power. You stop being a victim of your situation and become the architect of your own destiny. Let me give you a real-life example. In 2008, we witnessed one of the most devastating stock market crashes in history. People lost their homes, their jobs, and their savings. It seemed like the entire financial system had collapsed. But here's what's fascinating. While many were paralyzed by fear and uncertainty, there were others who found a way to thrive. They didn't focus on the global crisis. They didn't dwell on what had been lost. Instead, they focused on what they could control. They adapted. They learned new skills. They pivoted. Some started new ventures, some restructured their businesses, and some found innovative ways to make things work. They realized that the world doesn't stop moving just because you face a setback. The markets may crash, businesses may close, and things may fall apart, but the world keeps turning. So the question is, what will you do with the time and energy you have left? The people who thrived and who kept the ones who kept complaining about the state of the economy or the stock market. They were the ones who looked inward, saw what they could control, and took action. They didn't wait for the world to get better. They focused on making their world better. They focused on what they could control, their response, their attitude, and their actions. Now, I want you to think about your own life. How often do you get caught up in things that are beyond your control? Maybe you get frustrated by someone else's behavior, or you worry about the state of the economy, or you stress over things that haven't even happened yet. We've all been there, but here's the thing, all of that energy is wasted. When you focus on what you can't control, you give away your power. You let the external world dictate your internal peace, and that's not a place you want to be. Instead, start focusing on what you can control. Focus on your thoughts. What are you telling yourself every day? Are you building yourself up, or are you tearing yourself down? Focus on your actions. What steps can you take today to move closer to your goals? It doesn't have to be a giant leap. Even small actions done consistently will lead you to big results. Focus on your attitude. Your attitude is your choice, and it's the one thing no one can take away from you. You can choose to face life with optimism, with hope, and with a belief that no matter what happens, you have the strength to handle it. When you take control of your thoughts, actions, and attitude, you shift from a place of helplessness to a place of empowerment. You stop waiting for the world to change and start creating your own change. You realize that setbacks are temporary, but your ability to adapt and grow is limitless. The world may throw challenges your way, but your response is always within your control. And when you focus on what you can control, you take that power back. So the next time life throws you a curveball, don't waste your time and energy focusing on what you can't change. Instead, look at what you can control. Change your thoughts. Change your actions. Change your attitude. Because when you focus on the things you can control, you'll find that you have the power to rise above any challenge, no matter how big or small. And in doing so, you'll turn every setback into an opportunity to grow and move forward. Mistakes are part of the journey. There's no way around them. We all make them. And sometimes they can feel like a punch in the gut. But here's something important you need to understand: you don't fail. You learn. Failure is not a final destination. It's simply a stop along the way, a place where lessons are learned, wisdom is gained, and growth happens. The only real failure is the failure to learn from your mistakes. Every time you make a mistake, it's an opportunity for you to grow, to evolve, and to become better than you were before. So when you make a mistake, don't throw in the towel. Don't let it define you. Instead, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Mistakes are powerful teachers, but only if you allow them to teach you. Don't make the mistake of repeating the same error again and again. But do use every mistake as a stepping stone, a lesson that propels you forward. Let me share a story that perfectly illustrates this. Michael Jordan, the man many consider to be the greatest basketball player of all time, was famously cut from his high school basketball team. Think about that for a moment. Michael Jordan, the man who would go on to win 6 NBA championships and become a global icon, didn't even make his high school team. Now, most people would have seen this as a crushing defeat. They would have thought, I'm not good enough. Maybe basketball isn't for me. But that's not what Jordan did. He didn't let the rejection define him. He didn't quit. Instead, he used it as fuel. He channeled that disappointment into a work ethic that was second to none. He learned from his mistake. He saw the areas where he needed to improve and focused on becoming better. And eventually that work paid off. He didn't just make the team, he became a legend. Jordan's story teaches us something crucial. It's not the mistakes that matter, it's how you respond to them. When most people would have seen a failure, Jordan saw an opportunity. He didn't dwell on the rejection, he didn't let it discourage him. He used it as motivation to work harder, to grow, to evolve. He learned from his mistake faster than anyone else. And that's what set him apart. The most successful people don't make fewer mistakes than you and me. They simply learn from their mistakes faster. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that successful people have it easy, that they just have some sort of magic formula that makes everything fall into place. But the truth is, the road to success is paved with mistakes. It's paved with rejection, failure, and adversity. The difference is the successful ones don't let these things stop them. They don't allow mistakes to define their future. Instead, they take those mistakes and turn them into lessons. They ask themselves, what can I learn from this? How can I do better next time? This mindset of learning from your mistakes is what separates those who achieve greatness from those who give up when things get tough. Life isn't about avoiding mistakes, it's about how quickly you can bounce back from them, how much you can learn from them, and how you can use that knowledge to keep moving forward. You're going to make mistakes. It's inevitable. But here's the key, don't let those mistakes hold you back. Don't let them be the end of your story. Instead, let them be the beginning of your growth. Every mistake you make is an opportunity to become better, to refine your skills, to improve your mindset, and to move closer to your goals. So the next time you make a mistake, don't see it as failure. See it as a lesson. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What can I do differently next time? And then apply what you've learned, take action, and keep moving forward. Because the faster you learn from your mistakes, the closer you get to success. Every mistake you make is a step toward your greatness. So embrace them, learn from them, and use them to fuel your journey. Life has a way of testing us. We all face moments that seem insurmountable, where the challenges we encounter feel like mountains too high to climb. It's easy to believe that hardship is something to avoid, that success is for those who never have to struggle. But the truth is, resilience, the ability to bounce back stronger, is what truly defines success. It's not about avoiding hardship. It's about how you face it when it arrives, how you stand up after being knocked down, and how you keep moving forward no matter how tough it gets. You see, resilience is not something you're born with. It's something you develop through experience. It's a muscle that gets stronger every time you face adversity, every time you go through a challenge and emerge on the other side. Life will test you. You'll face difficulties that seem impossible to overcome. There will be times when you feel like giving up. But it's in those moments when everything seems lost that resilience is born. Think about Nelson Mandela, a man who exemplifies what it means to be resilient. For 27 long years, Mandela was imprisoned under the harshest of conditions. He could have allowed that time to break him, to make him bitter and angry, to fill him with resentment for what had been taken from him. But that's not what he did. When he was finally released from prison, he didn't seek revenge or dwell on the past. Instead, he chose to forgive. He chose to lead with grace, with wisdom, and with a focus on building a better future for all South Africans, not just for himself. Mandela's resilience didn't come from avoiding hardship. It came from facing it head on and choosing to rise above it. He had every reason to be angry, to want to lash out at the injustices he had suffered. But instead, he channeled his energy into creating change. His resilience was what allowed him to guide South Africa through a peaceful transition from apartheid to democracy. It's no exaggeration to say that his resilience changed the course of history. Now think about your own life. You've faced struggles. You've encountered setbacks. Maybe you've even felt defeated. But you're still here. That's resilience at work. You may not even realize it, but every time you get back up after being knocked down, you're building your own resilience. Every challenge you face, every time you push through the tough times, you're strengthening that muscle, making it more powerful, more unstoppable. The key to developing resilience is understanding that hardship is not the enemy. Hardship is the teacher. It's the thing that pushes you to grow, to evolve, to become something greater than you were before. You can't avoid it. You can't run from it. But what you can do is learn how to stand tall in the face of it. When life knocks you down, you have the choice to stay down, or you can choose to rise up, stronger and more determined than ever. This is what separates those who achieve greatness from those who give up along the way. Resilient people don't have fewer problems, they just don't let their problems define them. They don't let hardship hold them back. They take those challenges, learn from them, and use them as stepping stones on their path to success. They understand that resilience isn't about avoiding pain, it's about how you face it, how you rise from it, and how you keep moving forward. So the next time you face a challenge, remember, resilience is not about the absence of difficulty, it's about how you respond to it. When life tests you, when everything feels like it's falling apart, stand tall. Keep moving forward. Trust that every challenge is making you stronger and that every setback is setting you up for a greater comeback. You have the power to develop the resilience you need to achieve anything you desire. And like Mandela, when you develop the strength to bounce back from adversity, you'll find that you not only overcome life's obstacles, but you change the course of your own destiny. Life can be tough. There are times when the weight of the world feels too heavy to carry on your own. And let me tell you something, you don't have to. You don't have to go through this alone. You don't have to bear your burdens, fight your battles, and face your struggles by yourself. In fact, if you try, you'll find that the road gets a lot harder than it needs to be. That's why having a strong support system is so crucial. Lean on your family, your friends, your mentors, or even a community of like-minded individuals. You need a safety net. You need people who will catch you when you fall and help you get back on your feet. Greatness is never achieved in isolation. Every successful person, no matter how accomplished, has had someone they could turn to for guidance, encouragement, and strength. Even when it feels like you're on your own, you can always rely on your support system to remind you of your worth, especially when you forget. They are the ones who will help you see past your own doubts, who will encourage you when you feel like giving up, and who will be there when the road gets tough. Think about Steve Jobs. When he was ousted from Apple, the company he co-founded, it seemed like his world was crashing down. Jobs had built Apple into a groundbreaking force in the tech industry, and yet he was forced out. Many people would have seen this as the end of the line, a humiliating defeat. But Jobs didn't give up. Instead, he turned to his support system. He leaned on his close circle of friends and mentors, including John Scully, the very man who had once helped bring him to Apple. They reminded him of the vision he had for the future, and they encouraged him to keep going. With the help of his support system, Jobs rediscovered his passion and his drive. He went on to create Pixar, which eventually became one of the most successful animation studios in the world. And when the time was right, he returned to Apple and led it into an era of unparalleled innovation and success. It wasn't just his brilliance that propelled him to greatness, it was the support and encouragement of those around him. Without his network of trusted friends and mentors, it's hard to imagine that Jobs would have achieved all that he did. This is a lesson for all of us. No matter how much you want to go it alone, there are moments when you need to lean on others. And that's okay. It's not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom. The strength you need to overcome your challenges may not always come from within, it may come from those around you. Your family, your friends, your mentors, they are the ones who can help you rediscover your sense of purpose when you've lost it. They can remind you of your worth when you feel like you're not enough. They can help you see the bigger picture when you're caught in the weeds of everyday struggles. But let's be clear about something. Your support system isn't just there for you in the good times. True support is built on the foundation of trust, respect, and mutual care. When things are tough, That's when your support system proves its value. It's in those moments of hardship, of doubt, of fear, that you need to lean on the people who believe in you. They won't just tell you what you want to hear. They'll tell you what you need to hear. They'll challenge you to keep going, to rise above, and to push through the tough times. You may not always realize it, but the people around you want to see you succeed. They want to see you reach your potential, even when you're not sure you can. And when you allow them to help you, to encourage you, to guide you, you'll find that your journey becomes a little bit easier. You'll find that your support system isn't just there to help you when you're down, they're there to help you rise higher than you ever thought possible. So, don't hesitate to lean on your support system when you need it. Whether it's a friend who believes in you, a family member who's always there, or a mentor who's walked the path before you, let them be your strength when you don't have any left. No one achieves greatness alone, but with the right people by your side, you'll have the support, the encouragement, and the belief you need to keep moving forward. And when the time comes for you to shine, you'll know that the people who helped you rise were just as integral to your success as the work you put in. When life throws challenges your way, it's easy to think that the only way to move forward is by making a giant leap. You want to overcome the adversity in one big move, to make up for lost time, to fix everything in an instant. But the truth is, success and recovery are rarely achieved through one massive leap forward. The most lasting progress is built on small, consistent steps. It's not the speed at which you move that matters, it's the fact that you keep moving. Even if the steps feel small, even if they feel insignificant, every single one brings you closer to where you want to be. The key to bouncing back is persistence, not perfection. When you face a setback, it can feel overwhelming. You may look at the road ahead and think it's too long or too difficult. You may be tempted to throw in the towel because the mountain in front of you seems too high to climb. But that's when the power of small steps becomes clear. Progress is never a straight line. It's a series of steps, sometimes uncertain, but always moving you forward. Take Jeff Bezos, for example. When Bezos started Amazon, it wasn't from a luxurious office building with millions of dollars in funding. It started in a humble garage with a small team and a big idea. He didn't begin by conquering the world. He didn't rush into everything at once, trying to scale Amazon into the behemoth we know today. Instead, Bezos took small, deliberate steps. He focused on one book at a time, one customer at a time, and one hour at a time. He knew that the key to building something great wasn't by making a giant leap. It was about making steady progress, learning from mistakes, and improving along the way. With each small step, he refined the business model, adapted to the market, and built Amazon into what it is today. This approach is what allowed Bezos to succeed where others might have failed. He didn't try to do everything at once, and he didn't expect instant success. He understood that building something meaningful takes time and consistent effort. And this is true for all of us. Whether you're bouncing back from personal loss, financial struggles, or any other challenge, the path forward isn't about making one big move. It's about taking consistent, intentional steps every day. Think about the journey you're on. You may have set big goals for yourself, and maybe those goals feel distant or impossible right now. But don't let that stop you from moving forward. Instead of trying to rush the process, focus on what you can do today. What's one small thing you can do to move closer to your goal? Maybe it's reading a chapter of a book to improve your skills. Maybe it's taking a walk to clear your mind. Or maybe it's reaching out to someone who can help you on your journey. Whatever it is, take that step. And then take another. Don't worry if progress feels slow. What matters is that you're moving. Every small step counts. The magic happens when you make the choice to show up every day, to keep moving, and to trust the process. Over time, those small steps compound into massive progress. It's not about how fast you go. It's about how consistently you keep going. And when you look back, you'll realize that all those small steps you took day by day are what led you to success. In moments of adversity, you may not have control over the speed of your progress, but you can control your effort and your commitment to taking the next step. It's in the small, consistent actions that the real power lies. Just like Jeff Bezos, you don't need to conquer the world overnight. You need to keep taking small steps toward your vision, learning from each experience, and pushing forward, no matter how slow it seems. That's how you bounce back from anything. Step by step, you build momentum. Step by step, you grow stronger. And before you know it, you'll look up and realize you've come further than you ever imagined. So the next time you face a setback, remember progress isn't about making a giant leap. It's about taking consistent, small steps forward. Keep moving, even if it's at a slow pace. Every step counts, and every step gets you closer to where you want to be. Don't underestimate the power of steady progress. It's the key to overcoming adversity and creating the future you deserve. When you're facing adversity, when life is throwing obstacles in your way, it's easy to become frustrated. You put in the work, you take the steps, but sometimes it feels like nothing is happening. You can see the progress others are making, and you begin to wonder, why isn't this happening for me? It's in these moments that patience becomes your greatest ally. Success, healing, and recovery don't happen overnight. It's not a quick fix, and it's certainly not instant gratification. If you're going to make it through tough times and reach your goals, you need to cultivate patience. It's easy to get discouraged when results don't show up immediately. You've probably experienced that feeling before the work you put in feels invisible and the fruits of your labor seem so far away. But here's the truth. Anything worth having, anything worth achieving takes time. It doesn't happen in a day, a week, or a month. It happens over time, step by step, day by day, inch by inch. The key is to keep going, to trust the process, even when you don't see immediate results. Take the story of the bamboo tree. It's a perfect metaphor of life, success, and recovery. When you plant a bamboo seed, you don't see anything for a long time. You water it, you nurture it, but for the first 4 years, you see no growth above the surface. You might think it's not working. You might wonder if all the time and effort you've put in is wasted. But here's the thing, while nothing is visible on the outside, below the surface, something incredible is happening. The roots are growing deep and strong, preparing the tree for what's to come. And then in the 5th year, something extraordinary happens. The bamboo shoots up minus 80 feet in just 6 weeks. It's easy to look at that and think it grew overnight. But that's not the case. The growth wasn't happening in the 5th year. It had been happening all along, just beneath the surface. The tree had been preparing itself for that moment of rapid growth. All the time spent nurturing, all the patience exercised, paid off in the end. The same principle applies to your life. When you're working toward a goal, whether it's recovering from a setback, developing a new skill, or building something from the ground up, there will be times when you feel like you're not making progress. You might not see the results right away, but trust me, just because you don't see immediate growth doesn't mean nothing is happening. Behind the scenes, beneath the surface, the work is being done. The skills, the strength, the wisdom, you are building them, even when you can't see it. Every step you take, no matter how small, is laying the foundation for future success. Think about it. When you plant a seed, you don't expect it to grow immediately. You know it takes time, patience, and care. You trust the process and you wait. It's the same with your goals and your recovery. If you can stay patient, trust that your efforts are building towards something. Even when the results are hidden, you'll eventually see the breakthrough. That bamboo tree didn't sprout overnight, but when it did, it shot up like no one could have imagined. Your success, too, may be building quietly beneath the surface. And when it's ready, it will appear in ways you never thought possible. Patience is not about sitting idly by and waiting for things to happen. It's about continuing to show up, continuing to put in the work, even when you don't see the immediate fruits of your labor. It's about trusting that the process is working, even when you can't see it yet. When you cultivate patience, you're giving yourself the grace to grow at your own pace, to learn, to evolve, and to trust that everything is happening in due time. So when life gets tough, when the progress seems slow, and when you feel like throwing in the towel, remember the bamboo tree. Trust the process. Keep nurturing your dreams, keep putting in the work, and keep believing that your growth is happening, even if it's happening beneath the surface. With patience, the breakthrough will come. And when it does, you'll realize that the wait was not wasted. It was part of the journey to something greater than you ever imagined. The most important thing I can tell you, especially in the face of adversity, is this: believe in yourself. It's easy to get caught up in the negative noise around you, the doubts, the fears, the voices telling you that it's impossible. But I'm here to tell you that the most powerful force in your life is your belief in your own potential. You have within you a strength that's more powerful than any obstacle or setback. You have the power to rise, to overcome, to achieve, but none of that can happen unless you first believe that you can. When things get tough, when life knocks you down, when the world tells you that your dreams are too big, that your goals are out of reach, you have to remember one thing: your greatest asset is your belief in yourself. You are stronger than you think. You are capable of more than you can imagine. And when you believe in your ability to rise above, there's nothing you can't achieve. Think about Walt Disney. Now, there's a man who understood the power of self-belief. In the early days of his career, Walt Disney was fired from a job at a newspaper. Can you believe that? Fired for lacking imagination and good ideas. Imagine how easy it would have been for him to listen to those words and give up. Imagine if he had let that rejection define him. If he had doubted his ability to create something new and groundbreaking. What if he had taken that setback as an indication of his failure instead of an opportunity to prove everyone wrong? But he didn't. Walt Disney believed in himself, even when the world didn't. He believed in his dreams, and he refused to let others' opinions stop him. He knew that his ideas were valuable, and he kept pushing forward no matter how many doors were slammed in his face. He went on to create one of the most iconic empires in history, giving us the magic of Disney, a legacy that continues to inspire generations around the world. Now think about your own life. How many times have you faced rejection? How many times have you been told no, or felt like you weren't good enough? It's easy to let those moments define you, to let them tell you that you can't go on. But those moments don't have to define you. They're just temporary setbacks, just stepping stones on your journey. What truly matters is what you do with those setbacks. Will you let them stop you, or will you use them as fuel to drive you toward your goals? The key to overcoming any obstacle, to bouncing back from any failure, is believing that you can. When you believe in yourself, your potential becomes limitless. You stop seeing challenges as roadblocks and start seeing them as opportunities for growth. Your belief in your own abilities will carry you through the darkest of times, through the moments when everything seems impossible. It will give you the strength to keep going, even when the path ahead is uncertain. You may not always have all the answers. You may not always know exactly how you're going to get there. But if you believe that you can, you'll find a way. Your belief will push you to take action, to keep moving forward, to rise again every time life knocks you down. And that's when the magic happens. The impossible becomes possible. You don't have to wait for the world to believe in you. You don't have to wait for someone else to validate your dreams. All you need is to believe in yourself. Your belief is the foundation of everything you will achieve. When you trust in your own strength, you'll see opportunities where others see obstacles. You'll have the courage to take risks, to step into the unknown, and to build the future you desire. So no matter where you are right now, no matter what you're going through, remember this: you have the power within you to rise again. Believe in yourself. Believe that you are capable of more than you think. Your greatest strength lies in your ability to rise, to learn, and to keep going. Never forget, the impossible is only impossible until you believe it's possible. And once you do, there's nothing you can't achieve. Life has a way of throwing challenges at us when we least expect it. Sometimes it feels like the weight of the world is crashing down and we're left standing in the rubble, wondering if we'll ever be able to rise again. But here's the truth, bouncing back isn't just about surviving setbacks. It's about turning those setbacks into stepping stones, using adversity as the very thing that pushes us forward. It's not just about overcoming, it's about transforming yourself through those challenges. When tough times come, it's easy to feel defeated, to let the pain and the disappointment consume us. But I want to tell you this, pain doesn't have to be the end. It can be the beginning. It's in those moments when everything seems lost that we discover who we truly are and what we're capable of. The question is not whether you'll face setbacks, but how you will respond to them. Because in the end, it's not the setback that defines you, it's your response to it. So when you feel knocked down, when life gets tough, remember this, embrace the pain. Don't run from it. Don't avoid it. Accept that pain is part of the process. It's through struggle that we grow. Think about it. Every successful person you admire has faced their own battles. They didn't hide from pain. They used it to fuel their journey. The athlete who pushes through the injuries, the entrepreneur who faces rejection after rejection, the student who perseveres despite the odds, what do they all have in common? They didn't let the pain stop them. They used it to propel themselves forward. Next, it's time to reframe your perspective. How you see your challenges matters. A setback can feel like the end of the road, but it doesn't have to be. In fact, many of the world's greatest breakthroughs came from those who saw the challenge not as an obstacle, but as an opportunity. Reframe the situation. What can you learn from this? How can this challenge push you towards something even greater than you originally imagined? The choice is yours. You can stay stuck in the difficulty, or you can use it as a launch pad for something better. Take responsibility for your journey. Life is full of circumstances beyond our control, but how we respond to those circumstances is what makes the difference. You are the captain of your ship. Don't wait for someone else to fix things. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Take charge of your actions, your attitude, and your decisions. You can't control everything, but you can control how you react. Focus on what you can control. When things seem out of your hands, when life feels like it's spiraling, focus on the small things you can change. Focus on your mindset. Focus on your actions. Your energy is far more powerful than you think. The moment you stop trying to control everything and focus on what's within your power, you will find your strength again. Remember, learning from your mistakes is one of the greatest tools in your arsenal. Failure isn't a permanent state. It's simply a lesson in disguise. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become better. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about learning how to rise every time we fall. Develop resilience. Life is going to test you. It's going to push you to your limits. But that's where your strength is forged. Resilience is what makes you bounce back stronger. It's not about avoiding hardship. It's about how you face it when it comes. When you embrace challenges, you'll find that you're far stronger than you ever imagined. Lean on your support system. No one achieves greatness alone. Whether it's family, friends, or mentors, remember that you don't have to walk this journey by yourself. There are people who care about you, who want to see you succeed. They'll lift you when you can't stand on your own. And they'll remind you of your worth when you forget. Take small, consistent steps. Progress is built not on giant leaps, but on small, steady movements forward. You don't have to do it all at once. Every small action you take gets you closer to your goal. Keep moving forward, even if it feels slow. Trust that the effort you put in today will pay off tomorrow. Cultivate patience. Success doesn't come overnight, and recovery doesn't happen in an instant. Trust the process. Know that even when you don't see results immediately, something is happening beneath the surface. The growth is taking place. Stay patient, stay persistent, and keep going. And above all, believe in yourself. Your belief is the foundation upon which everything else is built. When you believe in yourself, you unlock your potential. You're stronger than you think. And no matter how many times life knocks you down, your belief will be the thing that carries you forward. The world may be full of challenges, but it's also full of opportunities. You can bounce back from anything, not just bounce back, but rise higher than you were before. Keep believing in yourself. And remember that your greatest strength lies in your ability to rise, to learn, and to keep going, no matter what life throws your way.